Hey, good day, folks. Welcome to another episode of Andrew's Life. Hope everyone's doing great. Me, I'm tired as hell. I just got back from work, and plus, when I got off of work, I decided to do a little bit of door dashing to earn a little extra money. So, anyhow, this video is going to be about how much money that a single person needs in order to live in the United States today. Now, some of you might feel that you need to earn at least $100,000 a year in order to live comfortably due to inflation. Other people, they may have stated that they need to earn at least 80 grand a year. Some people, you know what? America is too expensive. It's completely unaffordable. And as a result, some people have checked out of America and moved to another country for more affordable cost of living. So we're gonna go over some numbers here. And bear in mind as I go over these numbers, I understand. I mean, for one, these numbers that I'm gonna be discussing are generic, and also I do understand that everybody's situation is gonna differ. I mean, it depends on what state you live in. It depends on what your bills are. It depends on just how you live your life, I guess. But these scenarios that I'm going to be running through on this video with you guys is generic. It's super basic. So, with that being said, the first scenario that I have is, let's say you were to go out and purchase yourself a home for $100,000. Now, some of you are probably thinking, well, what the hell kind of house am I going to buy for $100,000? Well, to your surprise, there's actually places in this country where you can still buy a house that is turnkey move-in ready for $100,000. Now, is that house going to be anything special? No. Is it going to come with acreage? Most likely not. Is it going to be a mansion or even a mini mansion? No, it's probably going to be a ranch style house, maybe a 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Basically, in this current housing market, in many parts of the country, well, not in many parts of the country, in the parts of the country that I'm going to be discussing later, that's basically what you'll get for $100,000. And later on in the video, I will let you guys know what regions of the country where you would most likely have to reside in order for these scenarios to work for you. So let's say you purchase a house for $100,000 and you get it paid off completely in 15 years at 7.25% interest. And since most people don't really put any money down, I didn't include anything down. So your house will be paid off in 15 years at 7.25% interest, because that's about the average interest rate right now. For those of you that have to use a mortgage to purchase your home. So your bills are going to be looking like this every month. Your mortgage, to include homeowners insurance and property taxes, your monthly mortgage is going to be $1,213. And obviously, depending on what your credit is, depending on how much you put down, these numbers will most likely be lower. So just bear that in mind. Utility bills, will total $350 a month. And again, depending on how big your house is and what region of the country that you reside on and what type of climate that where you live has. Is it colder? Is it warmer? So, depending on several minor variables, your utility bills could be less than 350 a month, or it can even be more. But I think 350 a month is a fair number to use generically speaking, just for the sake of the video. And I figure health insurance will be $300 a month. And obviously, it can be less or more depending on your age and your health and where you live and other variables. Auto insurance, I got auto insurance for $200 a month, and that is for one vehicle. Because I figure if you're going to be a homeowner, you want to have decent coverage on your insurance. That way, if you get into an accident and you happen to run into someone's brand new Lexus, uh, the driver is not going to be able to sue you for your house or sue you and then leave you broke without, yeah, basically sue you and leave you broke. So just to protect yourself from losing all your assets, even to include your home, you want to have some good insurance on your vehicles, especially if you're a homeowner or you have assets. So generically speaking, I'm using $200 a month for auto insurance. And again, that number could be higher or lower depending on what kind of vehicle you're driving, how old it is, depending on your credit, and depending on other things, which I'm not going to discuss because it's YouTube. But it does happen, unfortunately. And the next bill that you'll have to pay will be $300 a month for gas. That's gas for your vehicle. And again, that bill could be higher or lower depending on how often you drive your car and how far and your driving habits. And that $300 a month for gas is assuming that you're driving a round trip of 2 hours, 5 days a week, assuming that you have a job and you have to drive an hour each way to get to work. And depending on what kind of vehicle you drive, you should have a little extra gas left over for your days off of work. And next, I got $400 a month for food. Now, as you guys can see, I'm not a small person. And I can definitely, $400 a month for food for me is enough. So I think for many of you out here, $400 a month for food is rather generous. And again, I'm not talking about how much it's going to cost for a family, for a household. I'm talking how much it's going to cost for a single person to survive in today's America. So just bear that in mind. And I got you down for $60 a month for a cell phone. Now, me personally, I use Straight Talk from Walmart, which, by the time they include the taxes and everything like that, I pay around $60 a month for my cell phone plan. I just use Straight Talk from Walmart. So your total is the total amount of money that you're gonna have to pay a month in bills is $2,823. Now, I understand there's other things that most of you are gonna need to have money for, such as some type of a savings account for when you have to do those home repairs, when you have to do those automobile repairs. One day you'll have to replace your vehicle. Also, it's a good idea to put away money for retirement. And maybe you got some other miscellaneous bills that most of us typically don't pay. So, just to add a little bit of cushion to the budget, I added $1,000 a month for miscellaneous bills. So now your total bills are going to be $3,823 a month. Now I know for some of you, depending on what region of the country that you reside on, $3,823 a month is probably not even enough to cover your mortgage. So, okay, so your total bills are $3,823 a month. So what you're gonna do is, see what I did was I took that number and I multiplied it by 12 because you got 12 months in a year. So for the year, your bills are gonna add up to $45,876. Now, I'm not going to attempt to give you guys an exact number of what you're going to have to actually earn gross in order to take home at least $45,876 because I am not a tax expert. So I will give you a guess though. And it's going to be a guess. Emphasis on the word guess. I would guess if somebody were to take home $45,876 a year, your gross, and again, this is a guess, your gross would be in the neighborhood of $60,000 to $65,000 a year. I'm gonna say more like $65,000 a year is what you're going to have to gross in order to take home $45,876 a year. Now, if you were wanting to do like most people do, which do what you do, but if I were you, I would stay with the 15-year mortgage plan. And again, this is not financial advice. This is just something that I personally would suggest people do in order to get their house paid off sooner so you can enjoy your life sooner and be able to have more money to invest for your future. But for whatever reason, if you prefer to take 30 years to pay off your house, then in that case, your total bills are going to be $2,592 plus the $1,000 miscellaneous plus the $1,000 for your miscellaneous bills. So your total bill in that scenario will be, your total monthly bills in that scenario will add up to being $3,592. And your house payment, which is included in that sum, your house payment for a 30-year mortgage to include your property taxes as well as your homeowner's insurance will be $982 a month. So let's move on to some better news. Let's say your house is already paid off. And for those of you that I might be boring to death, my apologies. I love going over this type of stuff. However, unfortunately, I don't know how to make it fun. So my apologies. So let's say your house is paid off. And for those of you that have a paid off house right now, congratulations. For those of you that are just starting, you just purchased, obviously, you got to bear in mind that by the time you pay off your house, the numbers I'm getting ready to read off are going to most likely be different. Most likely the numbers I'm going to read off in concern to anything that has to deal with housing, most likely those numbers are going to be higher by the time you pay off your house. So just bear that in mind. But just for the sake of the video today, let's say your house is paid off. Your homeowner's insurance and property taxes, I got you down for a total of $300 a month. And again, that sum could be less, but for most of you, it's going to be higher. And that's going to be, and that's going to depend on how big your house is, how big your lot is. It's going to depend on what city that you live in. It's going to depend on what state that you live in. Like for an example, if you live in a state of, let's say, Illinois, your property taxes are going to be much higher compared to living next door in the state of Indiana. I mean, in fact, you got a lot of people leaving Illinois and moving into Indiana because the property taxes are much lower. So just bear that in mind when it comes to homeowners insurance and property taxes. I got you down for $350 a month for utilities, $300 a month for health insurance, $200 a month for auto insurance, $300 a month for gas, and that's gas for your vehicle, $400 a month for food, $60 a month for your cell phone service. So with a paid off house, your total bills are going to be $1,900 a month. Now, even though your house is paid off, you're going to still need some extra money to maintain the house and to do repairs to the house, as repairs are going to be needed at some point. You're going to still need money for vehicle repairs and at some point to replace your vehicle. You're going to still need to plan for your retirement. You're going to still need a FU fund. So with all that being said, I gave you a $1,000 a month cushion. So, well, I didn't give you the $1,000 a month. You guys are going to give yourself a $1,000 a month cushion. So now your total bills are going to be $2,910. That's going to be your monthly bills with a paid off house. So, just like I did with the last scenario, take $2,910, multiply it by 12. And your bills for the year with a paid off house will be $34,920. And again, I'm not going to give you guys an exact figure of how much you need to earn in order to be able to take home $34,920, because I don't do taxes. I'm not an accountant. But I will give you a guess. And my guess would be, if you're taking home $34,920, which is close to $35,000, my guess would be that your gross would have to be at least $45,000. So, those are the two scenarios. So, bearing in mind with all the numbers I just ran through, I know it's a lot to remember. However, at the end of this video, I'm going to go ahead and all the numbers that I just read off will be written down at the end of the video. So you can go to the end of the video and just look at the numbers and write it down for yourself or whatever. So with the two scenarios that I just gave you guys, well, let me back up for a minute. And I'm pretty sure many of you noticed one major thing that I neglected to include in either scenario when it comes to your total bills. And that is a monthly car payment. I did not include a monthly car payment. Now, I guess if you wanted to, out of that $1,000 a month cushion money, provided that your car payment is well lower than $1,000 a month, I guess you can use some of that cushion money for your car payment. But the reason why I did not include a car payment is because, to be quite frank, I'm gonna be honest. For one, I don't believe in a car payment. I think car payments are stupid. I think they're a waste of money. I just think having a car note is a terrible idea. Cars today cost way too much money. They're built like shit, and I just don't see the logic in having a car note. Now, and honestly, I would say in order to live, I'll just say somewhat comfortable in the United States, assuming that you have to pay a mortgage or rent, I would say you're going to need to make at least $55,000 a year. I would say at the bare minimum, if you have to pay rent or you have to pay a house mortgage, I would say you would need to gross at least $55,000 a year. And me personally, I wouldn't suggest anybody that's making 50 some to even 60 some a year to entertain a car note. I just wouldn't suggest it. In fact, most people that are wealthy, they don't entertain car payments. Most of your everyday millionaires, they don't do car payments. Me myself, I ain't done a car payment since 2009. I just buy whatever I'm able to pay cash for. Even back in the days when I was broke, I just drove around in old hoopties. So out of that $1,000 a month cushion money, I guess if you want to entertain a car payment, you can entertain a car payment as long as it's less than $1,000 a month. If you want to go that route, which I wouldn't suggest anybody does. And obviously, I would suggest people to pay off their houses in 15 years or less, as I've mentioned in previous videos. But if you want to go the 30-year route, obviously, I wrote it down. I've been over it earlier in the video. So, yeah. If you need to look at my notes, I will have them at the end of this video. So, yeah, like I said, I would say if you have to pay rent or pay a mortgage, I would say that you would need to earn at least $55,000 a year. If your house is already paid off, meaning you don't have no mortgage, you don't have no rent, you don't have no kind of house payment whatsoever, then in that case, I would say if you earned around 45 grand a year, and that would be gross, you would be all right. Now, I'm pretty sure some of you already know what regions of the country where you would be able to live earning, let's say, 45 to 60 grand a year. But for those of you that don't, let me help you out. You got a choice. A, you can live somewhere in the Midwest, such as states like Ohio, Indiana, Missouri. I know West Virginia is not the Midwest, but I'm going to include West Virginia. Parts of Michigan. Parts of North and South Dakota. So basically, basically you can live in the Midwest, another region of the country where you can live, earning, let's say, 45 to 60 grand a year, and I'm talking gross. You can also live in the deep south. I mean, you can. I mean, most of you can live in Alabama. You can live in central to South Georgia. You can live in Mississippi. I would say most of Louisiana. I would say most of Arkansas. And I would say maybe some of Texas. And in a nutshell, those are going to be the areas where you're going to most likely have to live in order to be able to live off of 45 to 60 grand or so a year. So hopefully you guys got something out of the video. I know I bored some of you by reading a whole crap ton of numbers, but I love doing these kind of videos. However, I do not know how to make it fun because I do not have a sense of humor. My apologies. But anyways, hopefully this video helped out somebody. And if you like what I do, you can give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't done so, subscribe to the channel. And on that note, stay blessed. I will catch you guys on the next one.